Hey guys, and welcome to a showdown featuring myself in charge of the mighty Wood Elves up against Sir Son Safe and his Skaven forces. So an old school grudge match here, and it's going to be some good fun. We're bringing some new units, some old units. There's one or two things I want to discuss in this replay with you guys. So let's hop in here and have a quick little look at the builds. If I'm into slow motion here just for a second, you can see I'm taken to the forest a little bit. It's not hiding my whole force. We're definitely going to be approaching through this right-hand flank, just trying to avoid, wall block Giselle fire, lightning cannons, and the like. For our main battle line, we are going for the ever-loyal Eternal Guard, some stalwart fellows indeed. They are shielded, they don't do the biggest damage output, can certainly help though poke down rat ogres and the like, and hold a kind of tide of Skaven back in position. Backing these guys up, we do have double War Dancers as well. Bit of a fan favourite of mine, and in this matchup, I think they can do some pretty decent work, carving their way through some of the elite and cheap Skaven infantry relatively effectively and getting into that back line as quickly as possible. We are going to be supported on either side of our main formation by couplings of Glade Riders with Spears. These guys, one of the new units, and honestly, one of the best additions for the Wood Elves. They're 550 gold, I believe, off the top of my head. And a bronze shield, very lightly armoured and the like, but incredibly quick, can get into that back line pretty effectively. Over hidden right in the flank here, we do have Glade Riders as accompanying some Wild Riders with shields. On both flanks, we have the same little format. For our leadership call, though, this is going to be a power couple type of video, as we have the man and wife. We have Orion leading the forces here. Come in, of course, with a Horn of the Wild Hunt. We have Hounds of Orion, Hawk's Talons, Foe Seeker, and Cloak of Isha, of course. One of the greatest items in the game you should never leave home without. And he's an absolute powerhouse. He's had a little bit of a change as well in the latest DLC. He now fires whilst moving, and I believe has some cooler attack animations. If he gets surrounded, I think he does like jump animations, I think it said. So he can do a bit more damage and stuff. But that fire while moving makes him a really good assassin at hunting down enemy characters who try to flee from him. And with Ariel as well, she's going to be our mage, and she's unbreakable, much like Orion, and two unbreakable terror-causing characters up against Skaven sounds very good to me. She's going to be coming in with Berry Wine, Soul Stealer, and Apotheosis, as well as Greater Arcane Conduit. Now for my opponent's forces, he does have a absolute long line here. He's going very wide indeed. In fact, he's outnumbering me by over double. Coming in with Clan Rats with Spears, and I'm assuming there's going to be some Skaven slaves in here as well, perhaps. No, looks like for the most part it's going to be Clan Rats slotted all the way along, backed up by a couple of Warplock Giselles, who are pushing forward to try and get in range of my forces. We have some Skaven slave slingers and a Gracier of Plague on foot. Not something you see every day. It's actually got a really cool model. You never really get to see him on the ground like this. Going to be coming in with Arcane Conduit, Warpstone Scroll, Vermintide, Wither, as well as Pestilent Breath, so decent stuff all around. We have a Plague Claw Catapult for some long-range firepower, and honestly, I prefer the mortars in this matchup, and particularly the Regiment of Renowned ones, rather than the Warplock Giselles and the artillery pieces, but still, they're going to do a ton of damage for sure. We do have double Death Runners, including the Regiment of Renowned ones as well. Viskrin's Death Squad, looking incredibly gangster as always, and that's a pretty scary stuff. These guys, of course, are stalked, so I can't see them protecting this either. We have Wolf Rats with Poison hidden here. A Packmaster on his little Brood Horror is disgustingly quick, coming out a whopping at 95 speed. He can poison you, slow you down, and really kind of, stop some of your lovely skirmish. He has running with the pack as well, can heal up Clan Moulder units, which are nearby. We have a mutated Rat Ogre, not the Regiment Renowned one, but still a fearsome dude indeed. This arm must have been incredibly painful to operate on, but he's a big pain. Anti-infantry, frenzy, can also go toe-to-toe with some of the squishier, larger threats as well that the Wood Elves can indeed bring. And I think on the flanks we have even more Wolf Rats as well. So without further ado, let's get this battle underway. So Eternal Guard taking a bit of a pound in here for the lady, well, for their lady, which is, understandable. They're going to be just targeted down by the catapults and the like. Our Glade Riders trying to push on the left-hand flank are also getting hit pretty hard, but in we come for a big old charge in the back lines. We separated off the Glade Riders to try and pound down the Wolf Rats, but my Wild Riders charged into the Death Squad, not realising they were there, actually aiming to try and sneak in on the catapult, as if my opponent was watching. We are going to have to fall back here, but of course we are being poisoned, and the Packmaster is going to be able to catch us as well, so we're fleeing to the forest as quickly as possible. And these Wolf Rats are actually given pretty good as they get to the Glade Riders. I'm trying to pull out, which is probably a bit of a mistake because we are poisoned and being slowed down here. Also collapse in on our enemy at this point, who does counter with a summon, but we have Glade Riders and Wild Riders trying to shut down the Warplock Jezzails as our main force does approach. So perhaps a bit of an early strike for me. You can see on the other side, Blade Riders have been forced off by consistent Warplock Jezzail fire as well. However, my opponent has bunched up a bit to deal with the Wild Riders, so we're going to be dropping the Hawk's Talon and the Doggos and all that good stuff that Orion can bring on tightly packed troops. Gives him such good value as the War Dancers come charging in. Horn of the Wild Hunt is active as well, and these ladies are going to become absolute lawn mowers, carving their way through the Skaven with deadly efficiency. These pesky wolf rats with poison are chasing down my Wild Riders now, and coming in like 2 packs like this, they can certainly overwhelm the lightly armoured Elven forces if they get the charge and the Wood Elves don't. War Dancers have managed to break through the front line rather quickly, so the Death Runners have been forced forward, but Eternal Guard are pushing through the gap, aiming to hunt down that Plague Claw catapult. Our Elves just having a whale of a time as well, starting to float over to this left-hand side to help shut down the Warplock Jezzails. It looks like the Packmaster was able to catch the Wild Riders, so once again we're going to have to disengage here and try and pull away as quickly as possible, aiming for that Plague Claw catapult it would seem. Try to go over there and assist these Eternal Guard as my opponent's doing some lovely micro, pulling back that Mutant Rat Ogre to try and shut down the Eternal Guard. Over here, Ariel is going to be dropping a fat Soul Stealer, and the Wild Riders, it looks like, are going to turn and engage here instead of that 2-for-1 punch. Coming in with the Soul Stealer doing massive damage with the Terror, and then Wild Riders slamming into the back. This entire pocket of the Skaven does indeed crumble. All across the battlefield, the war is really underway here. Wolf Rat's been used very effectively to hunt down troops, but Wild Riders are going to pop over and say hello to these Warplock Jezzails as well. In the main fight, the Death Runners slowly getting dragged down by a combination of War Dancers and Eternal Guard, as Orion bullies this Grey Seer, terrifying him. And this is what I'm talking about. When Orion chases this guy down, he can continue to shoot as he does so, which is particularly useful for chasing out faster foes and the like. We're also going to be dropping Hounds down and Hawk's Talons on this little section, try to beat down the Clan Rats and the like, as the Glade Riders once again come in. And you can see we're trying to combine a lot of our abilities with charges from our shock cavalry, trying to break units, which of course Skaven below leadership, it only makes sense. Greyseer is terrified, I do not blame him. Look at Orion, he is mighty and scary indeed. Covered in blood, a demigod running at you and you're a little rat. I would not blame you at all for running away. War Dancers as well come with their awesome attack animations, beheading Skaven and slicing them open pretty nicely. Elsewhere around the battlefield, Wolf Rat's been a consistent pest here, going to be trying to hunt down loose troops that I do indeed have. A lot of my cavalry is done for as well. Looks like we had another Soul Stealer perhaps go down or some kind of effect over here. Ryan has managed to catch this Mutant Rat Ogre, saying hello to him. We'll be able to beat him down relatively effectively, and his leadership is wavering a little bit as well. Horn of the Wild Hunt is sounded in the deep one last time, as Ariel is trying to flee from this pesky Packmaster, who of course is anti-large, so she's just going to try and float over here, find Orion and stick together where possible. My opponent, not having any of it though, is going to surround her with some poison wolf rats, but in come the Wild Riders charging into the Death Squad, doing a little bit of shock damage, but also getting caught out by the wolf rats themselves. So if we look around the battlefield, of course, we have that little kind of pocket of strength, but apart from that, we just have Eternal Guard rallying, trying their best to shut down Jezzails where possible, and that is about it. So a few beat up Wild Riders, and a couple units on the periphery who are breaking, and then we have our absolute power couple. The Ariel just destroying some Clan Rats, what she's good for, and very good at. And then Orion coming in here and doing what he's good for as well, hunting down those large targets, routing at the Packmaster, forcing him away. Ariel's going to give chase for a little bit, but we're going to have to kind of try and keep these guys together as much as possible. Another Hawk's Talons does go down as well, clobbering some Clan Rats as the Wild Riders come in for a bit of a cycle charge. We're also going to pop the Hounds down, but we're not going to get the best connection. Still going to do some damage to those pesky little rats. Orion up to 181 kills, Ariel 73, very impressive stuff. Wild Riders did try to get on top of the Packmaster while he was routing, but he rallied in time, and he is bounding after these guys. It looks like the Mutant Rat Ogre did come in with a bit of a swing and a miss, so we're going to fall back to Orion here and Ariel, try and block the path and allow the Wild Riders to escape, because the main threat my opponent has left on the table really is these Warplock Jezzails doing consistent damage to my troops. So I'm trying to escape with the Wild Riders so we can wrap up and back around and shut down those Jezzails, hopefully. So we are going to be trying to heal these guys up as well with Apotheosis and the like as the battle does go on. More Eternal Guard are slowly coming back to our hero core here, as Ariel just obliterates some Skaven with Ethereal Fire. Well, no, more ethereal kind of woodland magic, I suppose. We are going to start now moving over towards the Warplock Jezzails and hunt them down where possible. Of course, my opponent wants to try and stay away from these guys. Not going to be giving me any good engagements, as he wants to get the full value he can from these guys. We do have an Apotheosis as well going down on the Wild Riders, although they're going to have to take a really long approach as they are taking consistent firepower from those Jezzails. But the Packmaster is on the hunt, scurrying across the snow here very quick after those Wild Riders who are desperately trying to escape for now before they can really, pay dividends in the later game. Turn of Guard have been forced off. Clan Rats as well can be used to hunt down those troops. And the balance power is still pretty dead even though, because of my powerful Lord and Hero core. Warplock Jezzails are starting to waver here. It looks like we may be able to pin them with Internal Guard, but no, those guys shatter. We see a big spear coming, clipping a few of the Warplock Jezzails, who are now currently terrified and running for the hills. Skaven Slave Slingers putting their lives on the line to try and stop the mighty Orion, who I forgot to mention earlier as well, does now actually have a bit of improvement to his save. He used to have 20% missile resistance, I believe, but now he has 20% physical resistance instead, which is a better trade all round for the most part. Death Squad is coming in though, going to be poisoning Orion with that armor sundering, but still, he doesn't care too much. He doesn't have the most armor anyway, and he's just quite happy to beat on some rats as the Wild Riders do pour through the breach once more, darting over a few of these rats, forsaking those Warplock Jezzails in their sights. And these Wild Riders are putting an absolute shift so far. 63 kills, very impressive stuff, taking a huge amount of damage. Are going to be darting in after those Warplock Jezzails, but they're wavering. We're so close to shutting these guys down. They bounding across the snow here. The Great Stags, or well, sorry, it's just normal stags here now, are charging in, and we do manage to clobber the Wild Riders there. Apologies about the alarm in the background. My phone did just go off. Apologies if it did scare anyone, I think I've done that before as well. Wild Riders though are terrified, but not before they actually get to shatter the Warplock Jezzails, which is perfectly good value for us, and the Packmaster does manage to finish off the Wild Riders however. Coming in with a Fat Soul Stealer, we do manage to nuke all these Clan Rats as well as the Mutant Rat Ogre, in some lovely value from Ariel, whilst also managing to heal up as well, as the Horn of the Wild Hunt is currently active, but these guys aren't going to be charging anywhere. The Mutant Rat Ogre trying to get in here for a little bit of a scrap as well. Very close stuff so far. Balance power is slightly in our favour, even though we only have 5 models left remaining. But yeah, not doing too bad at all. Mutant Rat Ogre is going to be coming in for some cycle charging, but the husband and wife here of the Woodland Realms are doing pretty good. Orion coming in, slapping the larger targets, just allowing Ariel to deal damage to all these lesser troops. Of course, as the game does go on, these two Terror Causers should be able to do some pretty good chain routing as well. Looks like the Mutant Rat Ogre is slapped to the ground by Orion, who now turns his sights, but again a little bit bogged down. He's just doing a bit of a slow-mo stare down, but coming in with a lovely spear animation as well at the same time on that pesky Packmaster. The Mutant Rat Ogre does manage to slap Ariel around a bit and kind of push her away from Orion, which is some scary stuff, but she's just going to fly up and over him as he comes in with a bit of a lunging animation, and she's going to slowly start floating back. She's going to also pop in Apotheosis on herself, because Orion has no need for her healing. He has the Cloak of Isha, so though it looks a little bit bad for him right now, lowering his health, if we take a little look over the tooltip there, the Cloak of Isha, once it gets below 20% health, will give him 8 hit points per second and a 44% damage resistance, making him pretty unkillable to the majority of the stuff left. So, despite the fact balance power is pretty kind of going against us quite heavily now, I was relatively confident as this game was going on, but was my confidence justified? We'll have to wait and see. The Orion is slowly clawing his way through back to his lady and hunting down this Mutant Rat Ogre, who has managed to gain 2 chevrons, but he is he's no Orion, no demigod. He's a false creation of the Skaven gods, and we are going to force him away to a rout. And you can see a lot of these troops are now being terrified, and kind of chain routing effects are starting to come into play. And all of a sudden, the balance power just swings so heavily in our favour, and it's going to be a very Pyrrhic victory for the Wood Elves there. Now, we lost the majority of our forces. We had 2 left, but they were the most important too, so I'm sure they're not too worried there. Very well played to Sir Sun Safe, and I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to give the video a big old thumbs up and subscribe for more Total War Warhammer content. We're getting dangerously close to 2,000 subs now. When we do, I'll make sure to do some kind of celebration stream with some giveaways and all that good stuff. And also feel free to comment on the videos. I do read them all, although I can't reply to them all at the moment. I do try to get back to as many as possible. Alright, for the forces, the Plague Claw Catapult did kind of entice me in. Didn't manage to get the most damage value itself, as we managed to shut it down relatively quickly. But a real standout from this army, and one unit I think performed very well here, was indeed the Pesky Mutant Rat Ogre. This is the base one, not the Regiment of Renown. Still came in with over 2,200 damage value, and a 7.5 damage dealt as well. Pretty scary stuff, up to 50 kills. Did good work up against some of my large entities and the like. Visteran's Death Squad as well was a big pain. Didn't see those guys early enough, and it got kind of like some of my Wild Riders killed pretty early on. You see, not the best value across the board from these guys in the end. Still though, managed to get in the back line, shut down the Giselles, which was pretty key, as the Giselles basically did nothing all game, which is glorious stuff for me. But the real MVPs, the true warriors, despite the fact, 103 kills here and 82 kills here, was of course the power couple. Ariel coming in with 14,000 damage and getting some pretty good value as well, healing up troops. Should heal up those Wild Riders considerably, which helped them really shut down the Warplock Giselles. And the mighty Orion, 25,000 damage dealt and a 4.4k damage value. Orion really is a huge powerhouse, and I think overall the new patch and new DLC has actually improved him considerably. I like his physical distance change, the fact he can shoot whilst moving out as well, and get held up by Ariel. He is very good, and I think not a must pick against Skaven. Dreich is also very good here, but I think he is very powerful. 234 kills, and yeah, insane damage across the board. Anyway guys, until next time, peace, and as always, stay awesome.